Hi, everybody. I'm Matthew Stubblefield with Fieldway, and this is my second behind the scenes video about my newsletter and blog publishing pipeline. I recorded one, but there were two problems with it. First, somehow the audio got doubled up, which is embarrassing and annoying, and I didn't like that sort of reverb or the echo there. So, re-recording. Second, it's just been a couple of weeks since I recorded that video. I've already changed how this works. And so I wanted to record a new one to replace it. That video demonstrated using Paperclip from paperclip.ing and autonomous AI agents for my publishing pipeline. So the idea was that I could interact with my director of marketing AI agent, and then it had a team of 8 other agents that were handling all of the research and drafting and social media writing and everything, with the goal of letting me focus on content and on my job, and then all of the extra overhead of publishing, which involved a lot of copying and pasting and all this other stuff, would just be done for me. And I didn't have to deal with all that stuff, which was really nice. However, last month, Anthropic sent an email out, and I use Claude for most of my AI stuff, that autonomous AI agents would be charged differently. And the estimate from Claude, I ran some analysis of everything that I was using AI agents for under my $200 a month Claude Max subscription. The estimate was somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 a month if I kept doing things that way. And even when I massively improved efficiency and cut things back and everything, it was still looking like $3,000, which obviously I can't do for what amounts to, 6 blog posts a week. So I have moved everything back into Claude Code locally and gone back to what I was doing before, experimenting with AI agents, which is a lot of locally built programs. So I'm using Claude Code to build programs that then do a lot of this work for me. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that and a little bit of what I have built. Let's start by taking a look at my Fieldway social sort of dashboard and web interface. So I have been working on this for a few months now with the goal of automating a lot of those publishing actions. So Fieldway Social is sort of like the equivalent of Substack combined with Social Bee. Or like Buffer. Like I wanted something that handled everything end to end for my publishing and social media. And then I've also got video management in here, which I'll cover in a separate video since that's a little bit different in the process. What we're looking at right now, the dashboard just shows me what has gone out recently and a mix of Facebook, LinkedIn posts, YouTube shorts, and then the upcoming schedule of what's going out. Subscriber growth for my blog and newsletter, which is pretty low. I effectively wiped everything. I've transitioned off of a different platform and I'm starting fresh. So this is very early so far. I've got content here, all of which is backed by Obsidian. So this was a video that was dropped into the pipeline, and then it does some drafting here, or here's a Fieldway blog post. And if I click this link, it's going to open that in Obsidian, which I'll drag over from my other monitor. And you can see this newsletter here where it's got this, and it's going through something that I dictated and I worked through and did some editing. And then it puts it into newsletter format, and then it will create social media and everything off of this. So this was like the first draft that it picked up and put through to everything else, which you can see that one was superseded because it was the draft that was going out. So I used a few different statuses to let me go through. If I look at the newsletter, these are some stats for the subscribers that I've got in. I've got 2 different newsletters that I'm sending, one through fieldway.org, one through Step Zero. sequences or just like welcoming engagements or confirmations and whatnot. And then I can see my schedule of what's going out. So this is a lot of stuff. This is pretty similar to what I was doing in Social Bee of building out a schedule that went throughout the day at a cadence to try to drive engagement. And I define that cadence here where I've got a start and an end time and the blog interval of 18 hours, which then means that it's going to Facebook and LinkedIn every 18 hours. And then shorts go out in the 6 hour intervals in between. So I'm doing all of that. And what we've got here is the sort of document that has come in for this upcoming week 23. I've been messing with this for a little while, but this is week 23 of the year is what that's showing. And all of this is done using Claude Code. So for the Fieldway blog, what I do is go into Claude and I run my weekly editorial. So what weekly editorial is doing is it's going to kick off a bunch of research. I just built something new, so I can show this to you. It's a manual of my different skills and everything. So it's going to look up the weekly editorial and tell us a little bit about how it works. Okay, and I fast forwarded through the 27 seconds of it looking at this. So on Mondays, I run this command and it's going to do some research for me on articles, academic articles, news articles, blog posts that are relevant to kind of my scope and my target audience for Fieldway, and do some research on that. It's going to pull that back. It's also going to look at Google Search Console for keywords and performance related to that area. It's looking at my plausible stats. If you're unfamiliar with plausible, think of it like Google Analytics, but it doesn't use cookies and it's far more private. So that's what I use for tracking visitors and engagement with my websites, and then data for SEO to then build a topical map and score and kind of think through the candidates for this. Now, I have just built this SEO piece. This is brand new. And don't know yet exactly how it's going to perform, but the idea is that every week it's getting more data and building up some intelligence there, and it's getting data on what is performing. So I am pulling in the engagement with my LinkedIn posts and Facebook posts and everything so that I can see what's working and what's not working. And then using that to inform what we write. And so it builds out, kind of takes all this data and it builds out some stubs, just some stuff in Obsidian, because I like to have everything in Obsidian where I can write directly in there. And it gives me a proposed order for things, gets all that together. And then from that, we can draft the articles and get them into the schedule. And then from the schedule, it's going to create LinkedIn and Facebook posts that point back to the article. I just do one LinkedIn and Facebook post per newsletter, per blog. And sort of the process that I've built into this is we get it all into Obsidian. So we get all of that content. We commit to a day and a time, or we commit to like the next one in the cadence for Fieldway. For the step 0 blog, I say like, I want it Tuesday at 9 a.m. or something. And what it's going to do is it's going to insert that step 0 blog and newsletter and its associated social media into that spot in the publishing order. And it's going to push everything else back. So it automatically redoes that. All of that sort of like scheduling and publishing to Facebook and publishing to LinkedIn and everything, those are all locally developed programs in what I call Fieldway Social. So it's not using AI for that. Where I'm using AI is for like writing the social media. And then I've also built in something to try to generate some art to go with the social media, because images tend to drive engagement. That's still a little flaky, still working on that. But I'm trying to make it as local as possible. And Claude seems to build primarily in Python so that it's not costing me as many tokens. The current estimate of this process where I run the slash command. So that's in my Claude Max account. And it goes out and does some Perplexity and Tavili research. Tavili, if you haven't heard of it, is a great AI research tool. So it does some Perplexity and Tavili research. It pulls from data for SEO, which I pay as I go on that. It's pulling from Google Search Console Plausible. Like it pulls all that together. That's all under Claude Max. And then I have an editorial research slash command that I can write, I can run. And when I run the editorial research, it's going to look specifically at the uh, upcoming week or like the stubs that have just been created, and it's going to go deeper on that. It's going to see like where do we not have enough sources. If I've only got one or two sources for a blog post, it's going to go and find some more to make it a bit richer. So it um, defaults to the current week and the approved topics, builds verified cited research dossiers for the approved fieldway.org editorial, and I keep at that at like $1 because it can really go big. When I'm doing research for product management features, I'm typically spending anywhere between $20 and $40 per research run. I actually have two going right now in parallel. And but for my blog, I keep that pretty cheap. So I'll do some additional editorial research. Then once I've got that in, we're ready to start drafting. For Fieldway, I have the AI drafting those directly. It's using a bunch of skills I've created for content creation and writing in my voice and everything like that. And for the Step Zero blog, I take an idea and I dictate using Whisperflow, and I put that directly to Obsidian. So for the Step Zero blog, I would come to Claude Code in the Fieldway social folder, and it'd say, I've got a Step Zero newsletter, and here's the path to an Obsidian. Get this wired up for a newsletter and blog post. And then it takes it from there. It writes the formatting for the newsletter and the blog post. It generates the social media. It gets everything scheduled and updates the front matter in Obsidian, which is what drives a lot of the scheduling. Updates in the database, gets all this ready to go. And then the process is it first publishes the blog post. That way I've got a URL. Then it sends out the newsletter to my subscribers. Then it publishes the LinkedIn and the Facebook social media posts with a link back to the blog post. And the newsletter also includes a link back to the blog post. And so the actual effort required for me for fieldway.org is, running a couple slash commands, scanning through the content, making a few comments to it, approving the order. For a week's worth of blog posts, it's less than half an hour. For Step Zero, it's a little bit longer because I am dictating and writing those. But again, it's probably half an hour, and I do one or two of those a week. And so for me to have a week's worth of blog posts and two custom, because it writes Facebook and LinkedIn differently, two custom social media posts and everything scheduled for a total of typically 7 to 10 blog posts per week going out in their social media, it's about an hour of my time now. It used to be a lot more just because of having to work with the interface in FG Funnels that I was using. FG Funnels is a sort of white labeled Go high level site. And the blog was really hard to work with. And I do a lot of copying and pasting into it from Obsidian and formatting and fixing headings and all this stuff. Like it was a huge pain. And then I had to, write the social media posts and I had to copy and paste them in. And even when I was using Social Bee for scheduling, it was still a lot of manual, like going in and clicking around. And so switching to this system that I've built where content's in Obsidian and then it just flows through, it's cut my social media down to 1 to 2 hours a week at most, which is great. And I'm doing videos also, which I will cover in a separate YouTube video if that's of interest to you. But when it comes to the writing publication, I actually was just having a conversation with somebody in the Lenny's newsletter Slack yesterday about this because they were asking about Substack versus Beehive or if people were using other things. And I said I built my own. First off, I generally recommend don't build your own. It is a huge pain. I keep running into bugs. I keep running into problems. My subscribers have been told twice that they're inactive and being like dropped, which is not the case. Um, it's been a lot to figure out, and it does feel a little scary because I don't want to be like in violation of the Can Spam Act or something like that. So I'm really careful with making sure that I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's and trying to make sure everything is above board. Um, at the same time, the reason I'm doing it is because I can fully integrate this and automate it with my websites and my social media and everything. And that really deep and custom integration saves me so much time, which frees up time for other things. So instead of 4 to 8 hours on social media and publication like I was doing, now it's 1 to 2, which then frees up time for commenting and direct messaging people and building relationships and doing billable work. And that is tremendously valuable. One of my goals at the start of the year was to use AI to get back 2 hours per day. That was what I wanted to do. And the answer by and large has not been AI is just solving every problem. It's I'm using Claude Code to build solutions, like build tools for myself that speed things up. Almost all of Fieldway Social are these local Python scripts that are running, and they're searching through my Obsidian Vault for research, and they're pulling content together, and they're doing the scheduling and doing the publication and pushing stuff. Um, AI is doing like some of the drafting. I have an AI ethics tool that reviews work and makes sure everything is being done right. But it's not as much AI as one might expect. Instead, it's using AI to build the tools that fit my business and fit me. So um, I think this video ended up being longer than the original one where I was going through the AI agents, but I continue to really enjoy having this tool available. I had originally intended to release it open source and free for people to use, but the more I've built it, the more integrated it has become with my websites, which are also vibe coded using Claude Code, with all of my other systems. And it's just so tightly integrated at this point that I don't think I could separate out something to release. And so my hope is that this video uh, inspires you, gives you some ideas of what you can build. Because at this point, I've dropped a $10 a month Social Bee subscription and a $100 a month FG Funnel subscription. And between the two of those, obviously doesn't pay for my Claude Max subscription, but I use Claude for so many other things that it's been well worth it. And I'm much happier with the outcomes, and it is saving me so much time. So I hope this inspires you, gives you some ideas of what you could build for yourself to make your life better and to free up time to spend more time with others and building relationships, not just pumping out content. My goal here isn't to send out 1 or 200 pieces a day. I try to send out 3 or 4 things between the videos and the text, but it's really about saving time. So I have time to invest in more rich activities, things that I really care about. So let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything you'd like me to dig deeper into, if you have any ideas or suggestions. This is very much a work in progress. Like I am adding stuff to it constantly. I'm making changes. I just improved some of the cadence stuff yesterday and um, built that SEO piece last week. So any ideas that you've got, I would love to hear. And let me know if there's anything I could help you with or speak more about in terms of this. Have a great day.